Good morning, y'all. We are live from the studio today. We in the top secret location. We in Unplugged Studios in Temple Hills, Maryland, and this is the Neighborish live cast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Supa Dave, aka Mr. Incredible, and with me, as always, is DC's native son, JaySun. And Miss FruFit herself, Patrice Jones.
Good morning.
And we're going to get into it. This is our first show of the new year. Welcome back. Happy New Year, everybody. Y'all had a good New Year, man. You partying, turning up. Rocking it, getting it. Yeah. What about Patrice? You had a good New Year?
I did have a good New Year. I went and had my last meal of 2019. I pigged out.
Oh, okay. And now you, so you start like a diet or a regimen or something?
Just changing up my eating a little bit, doing a few different things.
Okay.
Not vegan, but just kind of mixing it up a little bit.
Okay, cool. We have a super interesting show for you today. Patrice actually decided on this topic, suggested this topic to us that we talk about dating and relationships in 2020, and get some perspective on some different perspectives, some different outlooks on it. And so we're gonna get into it.
Dave.
What's up?
We just going right into the topic.
No, I'm just telling them what it was.
Oh, okay.
You do this every week though. You know what I'm gonna do, man. You know how
I
I
didn't
go.
know. I thought you was
Switching it up for 2020.
like,
No,
hold
we still
on,
the
baby.
same. So we got some stuff to talk about always before we get into it. It's a lot been going on in the city and in the world that we need to talk about. So we're going to get into it. First and foremost, did you guys have any New Year's resolutions?
Hey, Delania says she can't hear us.
Oh.
Is that my phone?
That's probably on your phone. Yeah,
This
tell her
isn't connected
tune
to
into the live. Go
this
to the
on?
page.
Is the mic on?
Yeah, the mic's on. Yeah, we good.
The mic sound nice.
We 100%.
I don't know what's up with my shit, Delania.
Yeah.
B, what's up?
Tell her to check it out on the Neighborish page.
Yeah, I got it. I
hear
On my
tagged it.
page. Fuck all that.
All right, well, they ain't gonna be able to hear nothing, but
Y'all can't hear nothing? Can you hear me, Eddie B?
yeah. So let's get into it. We
hear
doing
that,
technical
Ron?
stuff. Did you guys have any New Year's resolutions?
Nah, I don't.
No.
Y'all don't do the
I'm waiting
resolution
for the
thing.
solstice.
Waiting for the solstice.
Yeah.
What's you mean the winter
Well,
solstice?
you
or
know
the-
that's another fake holiday, right? The New Year's.
Oh, okay.
I don't even
Well, I
know
think
what
it's. I mean, there's actually a new year though. I mean, it's the day that the year turns into another year. So it's kind of. It's not
Hey,
a.
Jay.
Thing. It's not a thing. That's not a thing though. Like I know Christmas ain't what it's supposed to be.
Mindful of Dave's education.
But nah, but what
we
is
on
so?
the
What are you
same
saying?
education,
Yeah,
don't we?
exactly. So what are you saying? It's not the New Year's is not a New Year.
Tell
Well,
them
I
about
mean, the
January.
Gregorian calendar acknowledges that date as a new year.
Yeah. So what does that? I mean, but about it being like a holiday or like
Well, I mean, no one really knows. Well, I mean, there's so many different calendars that calculate time and date. So the Gregorian calendar. is
But
just-
we go based on the one that we use though, right? Like.
I mean, well.
So yeah, what is it?
most
Like, what am I
people
saying
do,
wrong?
yes.
Like,
You're not
I mean,
saying
educate me.
You're not saying anything.
I don't want to
wrong.
be the
I'm
only
just
one that
saying-
don't know.
No, not wrong.
Yeah, ain't
So
nothing wrong.
I don't think anything is really necessarily wrong. I think that once you get, just once you start learning, you start with like we talked about kind of deprogramming all of the things that you learn,
Yeah.
and start learning the things that we never really acquired in school. So,
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, so. Everybody had a great New Year. We kind of stick with that
Happy
vibe.
New Year.
Yeah,
Happy
there
New
you
Year.
go. I mean, like, 'cause I mean, I get it, like
I mean, you
Christmas
can't
and
force
different
me to-
things like
to-
that.
into
Yeah,
the-
and I'm not gonna, try
I
to
ain't
force
trying-
nobody, but I was just trying to
Yeah.
understand better the perspective of it not being like a New Year, like it's
Eddie
different.
said Jay don't want to teach today.
Right? Yeah, like that's what I'm saying.
Well,
If it's some knowledge you
I
got,
ain't got nothing to teach. I'm just saying the earth will tell you when it's a new year, and the earth will tell you it's a new year once you see flowers blooming. And
so it started in the spring. Like
well,
I'm trying
as
to
the
get.
sister just said, there are solstices that are natural time
Counted.
calculators.
Yeah, but that's more for the
And
season
then the
though, right?
Gregorian calendar was kind of developed based
calling
on
you.
population control. Oh, that's my man ML.
Yeah. Tell him to watch the show. What is he doing?
He's locked up, bro.
Oh, okay. All right. So you got it. My bad. Same. All right. Shout out to ML. Free ML. Yeah, I've seen you say that too. Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so and disclaimer, man, I don't claim to know anything. I just go based on, being in tune. And like I say, the earth and the universe will tell you when it's a new year, when things change over.
Right.
And that's when you
Okay.
see the conditions of the earth change. That's when you know it's a new year.
So my perspective, and not to get too deep into this, just my perspective is like time and counting like things like days and years is a man-made concept anyway.
Correct.
So, with that
That's
train
what I'm
of
saying. You
thought.
watch the earth, and the earth will tell you, like, oh, there's a cycle that's renewed itself. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm
Yeah,
y'all's camera person, just in case
see.
y'all
Oh,
didn't
okay.
know.
Well, we got the actual.
Oh,
we got
y'all,
camera,
I
we
don't
good.
need to
It's
do
a
this.
camera right
Oh,
here.
okay.
So
I
yeah,
forgot. We
got
in
everything
the
set up.
official studio
Oh,
this time.
that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. So y'all probably wondering why we're not at the Nubian Heuman, and that's because the Nubian Heuman is actually open today for MLK Day. Now that's a holiday. MLK, the Martin Luther King birthday, birthday is a day that y'all can. We can appreciate the contributions of a dude that, put a lot into making sure that we understood. And even like the messages that weren't as publicized, that didn't go along with what, the larger society wanted him to say, like the last speech that he gave, right, Jay?
It was the one in New York when he spoke out against the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
1 year exact to the date that they murdered him.
Right.
So April 4th, 1967, he had a speech, and I forgot, it's some church in New York City. It's a well-known church. Then on April 4th, 1968, they got him up out of there because they saw him transitioning his rhetoric
To more, because one of the
trying to
last
tell
speeches
people
he
to get their
gave was
money
about
up.
more separatism than integration, right?
You say what?
One of the last speeches he gave was about more separation than integration, right?
Yeah, because
He started
like,
noticing that he was like, the
needing
stuff
us
I
to
was
burn the
saying was
house.
wrong. Yeah, exactly.
He was like,
Yeah,
we
to
gotta
burn
get
the
our
house
money
joint.
up. We shouldn't be supporting these wars.
Right.
He was like, all right, we're losing this nigga.
Get him out of here, right? So yeah, but
Shout
I mean,
out
so
to
my
MLK.
MLK Day is is it any reason we should not like MLK Day?
Well,
should we hate on it?
principally speaking, we shouldn't acknowledge or celebrate any holidays. But
Why not?
because why not? Well, that's not my position. I'm just saying that's not my position to say what to do or what not to do. So I digress.
Can I chime in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I think to what you're kind of hinting towards, if that's, for lack of a better word, is we forget, like, I guess about, like, kind of like the divine natural order, and to make it simple, just as we are. So holidays are because of the stroke of a pen, right? And so it doesn't, that's why not every holiday speaks to each person, because it's technically man-made. Not to say that certain things shouldn't be celebrated, but no. So some things are not.
Well,
me,
I mean, it's
the same, man.
it
that's
ain't
what I'm saying.
man-made.
But
Like,
the seasons are changing.
Yeah.
Things have transitioned.
Right.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like most of the things that we observe and follow is because even the word solstice, like it's whatever it is. It's not like solstice is a man-made. Yeah, but who put it together? Like, and who decided soul was sun?
Latin.
Yeah, man, a man, Latin to men, right? So I'm just saying it's it's all something that we came up with in our minds and decided that it was this.
So can I say, I'm going to chime in really quickly. So I studied Latin for like 6 years.
And you still don't know nothing.
And I did, no, real talk. So that's what I'm getting to.
You got some Latin?
That's what I'm getting to, that I studied Latin for 6 years, but I didn't even know like why I was studying it. My mom put me in Latin because she was like, Patrice, if you learn Latin, you'll be a great writer.
Yeah,
but to Jay's point, like, that's a Latin word, or that, a lot of things that we learn have a Latin basis, but at the end of the day, they have nothing to do with what we think they have to do with. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to get too
it's a
far
lot
into
of
that.
confusion. But so we moving on before we get too deep into this.
You know what?
It's
It's a holiday, a man-made joint that's really ours that has been hijacked is Memorial Day.
Okay.
Like, that was black people in South Carolina that started Memorial Day for the fallen soldiers, I think, in the Civil War. So black people got together and was like, we're going to remember our folks that fought for this war and was treated unjustly after the war. So Memorial Day was actually a black holiday.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, so
See, you learn. So there you go. That's Jay's
How about
fist
that,
up
Eddie?
moment. He talk.
Eddie,
When is Eddie coming through?
when you coming through, Eddie B?
Yeah, we'll talk to him after the show. This,
I'm sure he's going to reply on here.
Patrice, do you have a FruFit moment of the day?
FruFit.
Do I have a FruFit moment of the day? Well, I can share something. I can share something with you guys. So today, I had a kind of like an assignment this morning, and I had to run a lot of steps, like just not run, but like go back and forth. And I was like, man, like, you know, I'm in my 40s, and I'm like, there are people that are, you know, in their 20s that can't really, you know, just kind of like move throughout their day to day, like go up the stairs. How many young people you always hear say, man, I'm so out of breath, my lungs. And I just had a moment where I was like, do we realize that after 20, 30 years old, we still have a whole nother few lifetimes to live. You know, you want to live another 50 years. So if you're 20 and 30 and 35 and you can't breathe going up and down the steps and you can't do basic things, then you might want to check yourself and check your diet and start working out. And don't do anything drastic. Just be consistent at every little thing that you do.
Right, yeah. Okay.
That was a good FruFit moment.
Yeah, be consistent at everything
Every
that you
little
do.
thing that you
I like
do.
that. So a few things before we get into this discussion, this deep discussion about the posts that you put up and relationships and delusions and all of that. We're going to talk about a couple of things in order to be more of a major player in what is being now the chicken sandwich wars. I was like, yeah, there you go. I was waiting for the side. Hold on. But listen, though. I'm trying to teach.
Okay.
For the chicken sandwich wars among fast food restaurants, WTOP is reporting that McDonald's will now be adding MSG to their chicken sandwiches. This is a controversial move as monosodium glutamate, which is what MSG stands for, was removed from a number of foods in the late 80s and early 90s, citing the many health issues that the ingredients can cause. This decision comes from McDonald's after successful runs by chicken sandwiches by Chick-fil-A and Popeyes, who both contain MSG. I had no idea. It's a terrible ingredient, and I'm never eating. I had a Popeye sandwich. It was like, this ain't bad. It's not all. I ain't here believe all the hype, but it's crazy that they, and instead of saying we're gonna stand out and be somebody to do something different and not put this stuff in here that's causing all this illness and stuff. And, no, they making money. Let's make money too. So let's go ahead and do what they do. Why you give me that face, Jay?
We really about to talk about chicken sandwich?
Well, I mean, I'm just letting people. It's a lot of people that watch this show that's probably eating a chicken sandwich right now, and they need to know what's in the stuff that you putting in your body, right? Like,
can you put it next to yours?
That's what we need to do is educate people about the stuff that's going in their body. So I want to make sure y'all know that it's MSG in them chicken sandwiches. So while you eating them, just make sure you you know what you ingesting.
Thank you, Dave.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, you're good. You're on that. You in here. So, yeah. Right. Yeah, as long as you're in here.
Now, I'm just excited about this topic. No, go ahead, do your thing.
Chicken sandwich shop?
No, about the...
I don't even eat no chicken. I don't eat no chicken sandwich when I go out. Anyway.
All right, so kind of segueing into the topic.
Really?
Yeah. To segueing into the topic, because I had a few other things to talk about, but y'all had on my chicken sandwich story. So, I'm trying to let people know it's MSG in the chicken. Stop messing with them chicken sandwiches. Not for us. Yeah. And it's the bottom line of what I'm trying to say. I saw a Facebook post the other day on someone's page, and it was interesting, and it kind of spoke to our topic. And it was
Eddie B going on you.
He going on me for talking about this. So Eddie B, you want people to eat the chicken sandwich, Eddie B? Is that what you're saying?
He said all this opposition, and you talking about chicken.
Hey, these are the ways they get us though. Like, right? Like, putting stuff in the food and mass producing it and got us out here running. Our people running to the store to buy this thing that's killing them. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah. But
now Ivan's on my joint.
Well, he's moving around. He'll get around to me eventually. Anyway, I saw a Facebook post, and it kind of spoke to the topic that we was talking about. And it was on someone's page, and it said, it's a lot of women out here making men better for the next woman, while the man is making her worse for the next man. And I thought it was an interesting meme because of how wrong it is. Like, I mean, there are definitely situations where people become worse because of relationships. But what you do with what someone, so basically the bottom line is all people will ever give you is situations and information. That's all people will ever give you. What you do with those situations or that information is up to you. What's up?
Eddie was like, that post full of shit.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the bottom line. So basically, what you do with the information or the situations people give you is up to you. And so if you come away better or worse from the situation, it's because of how you took the information, how you internalized and then, regurgitated the information.
I have some input.
So, yeah, what you got?
FruFit.
So let me just say that we have to start paying attention to how these memes are. So everything is connected. It's like a domino effect. So we have these memes, if you pay attention, and I said this a long time ago, but now I'm really starting to see it. Memes are literally programming us on how to look at our men, how to date, how to
everything.
It's like creating.
People know the power of social media.
I'm gonna say it, and I know I'm gonna get pushback from this, but it's teaching us how to
we like
look
when
at
you
our
get
men.
pushback.
Look
Take
at
it
our.
off us.
It's teaching us how to look at our men in a negative light. It's for somebody to say that a man is teaching you, preparing you for the next man if he don't treat you a certain way. You don't know what happened in that relationship. The woman might have been at fault for whatever happened, or he might have told her up front he didn't want a
women are
relationship,
never
right?
at fault for anything.
No,
you didn't
but
know
that's
that?
what I'm saying.
She don't know
I
the
talk
rules.
about it all the time. Like, we have to have self-accountability. There is none. And the women, like...
You must be a tranny. Because no woman ever speaks this way.
Don't say that.
No.
Do you know that I'm still unmarried and I'm still single? Don't be saying I'm a
trying to-
tranny.
yeah,
online.
Yeah, you talking
You
about-
know somebody a
You
clip
talking about
this?
women holding each other accountable?
Yes. God, we need to start
What are you
doing
talking
that.
about?
That's why you never see me share those memes. I'm just like, who wrote
Well, you
this?
shared one. that
No,
said
I
something about,
shared and said, what did you think? I didn't say that I agreed with it.
You
No,
had a
I'm
lot
real
of-
talk. I don't
a lot of
so-
conversation about that
That's
one.
much appreciated, though, Patrice, because, men don't hear that ever, really. So it's interesting. I'm curious to know, well, not like right now, but like what brought your way of thinking to that conclusion, to not be on the bandwagon of, shitting on men. Yeah. So we appreciate you.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Because I see it happening. Like, I don't think we, like, we always talk about moving consciously. Like, if somebody throws up a meme, a lot of times people, women and men, will come behind, yeah, man, that's facts, 100, yes. And you're like, did you even read it and really dissect it and think
People ain't
about
reading. They just
what it
wanna-
is? Like,
I mean, I think some people do, though. But
nah,
a lot of people don't.
but sometimes it's like a public show and support of sorts. It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, let me think about this. So if a man is really preparing a woman for the next man, do I even know what happened in that situation? Like, do you know how authentic it was? Do you know that if that woman or that man like dealt with their traumas and the things that they brought to the table? How can you just make a general statement like that?
Yeah, and I mean, I think but that's all memes are. It's like a general statement, and people see something that they want to agree with, or they looking for an answer, and they feel like that might be it. A lot of times, it's so much deeper than that little bit of dialogue can even get into. Because, like you said, it's more about the individual situation. It's more about what actually happened in that relationship. But my point in looking at it and in bringing it up here was just to say, like I said, it's all about what you do with it. I feel like every relationship that you're in should be a learning experience for you.
Yeah,
and you should take something away from it. Like, if you get out of a relationship and you haven't learned anything from it, even if it's just learning never to do that thing again, you need to learn something from it. If you don't, you're doing it wrong. Because that's the purpose of it, is to prepare you to be the person that you need to be for that right relationship. And so in that it's right. But to say that, it's a lot of women out here making guys better for the next woman while all the guys are doing is making the women worse for the next man. It's like, come on, bro. Like, she should at least be gaining some perspective, to know what she's going to tolerate and what she's going to handle. And I mean, I understand the situation sometimes put you in a bad position, but it's a lot of emotional immaturity out here, and so that ability to grow from negative situations is not as prevalent.
And I say this all the time, but it's so important. And I want to know you guys' perspective. You guys, is that a right word? I don't know. Southeast.
That's all right. We'll let it go.
So I want to talk about the dating meme, like because I saw so many people sharing that meme saying if a guy doesn't.
Hold up, so let's read it. Okay. Yeah, let's read it. It actually says the meme says until he proves he only wants you, text them other dudes back. And that's all it says. And a lot of your friends had some interesting perspectives on it.
They did. And I saw something a guy said today.
Yeah, a couple of people.
So here's the thing with that. So I'm in a room with two guys. So guys think differently than women. I think women, like, we get together and we think we know exactly what a dude wants and exactly how a dude moves and exactly.
I'm sorry. Shout out to 151. Thank you for sharing the post. Go ahead.
Okay. We think we know exactly how you guys move, what you want, and what you expect.
Right.
And we kind of just start this whole little movement. But I think that, so this is just me, and I'm not going to go too, like, delve too personal because I don't want to go right or left, but. So
go wherever you're going.
Okay, go where.
Just be authentic. That's all we request. So say I'm dating someone and okay, you're dating someone.
He knows that I'm cool with like texting back and going out with. Say somebody said 6 was a high number. Say 3. I say 6 because everybody got 1 or 2 people at their job off the top, so they ain't even left there. They might have one in their neighborhood.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be real, right? It's not that hard to find anybody, especially on social media.
I don't like those generalizations. Can't say
I said,
say everybody.
So I did.
Most.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. All right,
He's gonna keep you honest. He's gonna keep you honest.
So here's the thing. So if you know that I'm messaging all of these other guys and I'm going out with them, what's the first thing you think as a man?
Is this to me?
Yeah.
I'm not fucking with her.
Because.
Well, I'm different. You should probably talk to Dave.
Okay,
well, but she's asking you your personal.
I'm gonna tell you why. And
she's gonna tell you why you think what you think.
I'm different than any man you've ever met in your life.
Just hear me out. Hold on, just hear me out.
When people say that, they always be the same. Don't say it.
Because the assumption is she's sleeping with at least 1 or 2 of those other dudes, right?
No.
Jay.
What?
I
told you. You better direct this shit to Dave.
You don't think she's smashing at least one. If she talking if she like, oh,
come on now,
talk,
Dave.
But I'm talking to. Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry. She's making sweet, sweet passionate love to her. She's lighting candles and
Well, I mean, because the thing, to me, that ain't negative. But that's not what I think of.
What do you think of? So if a woman is. So what do you think about them?
Well, I just think that's her frequency. She likes dealing with different energies.
Yeah,
and I'm not a person that deals with different energies, so I can notice the disconnect right there.
Right.
So subjectively, to me, I wouldn't mess with her, not because I think she fucking somebody. It's just because like, oh, she deals with different energies, and that's not my lane. So it's like I'll just remove myself.
So let me add. So I don't know if you read, but on the post I said, so if
Eddie B said Jay is the unicorn of black man species.
So here's what I said. So so this is just a scenario. So if the guy has 4 or 5 women that he's messaging and he's responding to, and a woman has 4 or 5 different men that she's responding to, and then those people that they're talking to are dealing with other people.
4 or 5
then you have
people.
them. You have approximately 20 energies, DNAs, and all messing around. And it's just like, how can you? This is why I don't understand dating. I'm really old fashioned, but how can all of those energies, all of that DNA, everything mix all into one pot? And people say, but I'm looking for exclusivity. How can you find that? Yeah. And you have all of this otother stuff going on.
So when we talked about it, we were talking about it a little bit before the show, and my perspective of it was, it's not conducive to what the woman is trying, is to the end goal. So what's the end goal? If the end goal is to be with this person who's doing, so if he's not showing you that he's the one you want, that you're the only one he wants to be with, but your goal is to be the only one he wants to be with, why would you go in a complete other direction and start messing with other people? Don't try to mirror him. Bring what you have, so talk to the dude. Right. Let him know this is what I want, because what that does is it's going to go one of two ways. Either he's going to say that's what I want too, and he's going to cut all them other people off, or he's going to say that's not what I want, and you can know that this is not if your goal is to be with somebody, this is not where you need to be, or I'm going to wait it out, whatever the thing is. Communicate, talk to him. Don't try to, because it's counterproductive. So now you out here messing with all these, and if that's not your energy, now you trying to do some stuff you don't even do, messing with a bunch of other people just because that's what he's doing. Come on, man, that's not.
But it also too,
nothing right about
we have to factor in. You have to get to know a person, and so how can I get to know Jay? Like, we spend time together. I get to know Jay, and this is hypothetical. And I get to know Jay.
This is only hypothetical.
Patrice.
What?
Keep playing games.
So I'm trying to get to know Jay, and we're going out and we're spending time together. But the other part of me, I'm like, oh, what's up, Dave? And we're spending time together. Like, there's no focus to get to know a person. Like, I don't understand how. Okay.
Well, I think it's different. I think it's different.
You cannot get to know a person thoroughly if you're trying to get to know 6 different people.
Well, I don't know, because I feel like Jay said, it's different energy. So some people can, and that's fine. But if that's not what you're looking for, like he said, if that's not where your energy is, you need to. The only way you can know that is to communicate with that person and let them know. Just say it instead of trying to be that person and change your energy to be more like them. So okay, you talking to other people, I'm gonna talk to other people too. So now you gotta reach out to these people. And all the issues that invites, because one of them might be crazy. One of them might have a crazy ex that's going to try to kill you. All the things that you bringing into your sphere, or just people's baggage and their lives. You bring in that energy. Like you said, it's all these different energies mixing when that's not your goal. If that's your goal, then do it. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. But if your goal is to have this dude to be the only person that he's checking for, to have him showing you that you're the only one, let him know. It's that simple, because he's going to either do it or not. So if even if he says he's going to, but he doesn't do it, that's your answer.
So right? I have a question, and this is for both of you guys. So Jay, I want you to go first, because I want you. Just listen.
But I like to hear your perspective on stuff too, man.
Okay, so the memes. Read the meme one more time.
Okay, I'm gonna read it one more time. It says. It reads as follows. Until he proves he only wants you, text them other dudes back.
Okay, so everybody has a different perspective on that, but I don't think we really ask the other person. So I'm gonna ask you guys, how would a woman know that you only want her? Like, 'cause that's
exactly the question. That's a great question. That's exactly the question I was gonna ask.
How would a woman know that you only want
I
her?
feel like only a woman can answer that. That's what I was gonna ask you. Like, what is? And I was gonna say it on here, but I don't like getting into like Facebook, back and forth. But you asked us the question. So do you have an answer, Jay, or you?
What's the question?
Oh my God, Jay.
He do that a lot.
I said, how would a woman know that you only want her?
I would tell her.
It's that simple. It's just that simple.
Thank you.
I didn't know if Jay was gonna come out with it, but it's just that simple.
To be honest,
and in telling her, that's not just because it's definitely ways you can show it too, but in saying it and affirming it and making that affirmation, your action is gonna show it.
To keep the confusion minimal.
Just say it. And
like, yo, I'm just trying to fuck with you. Like,
and there's some people that don't even.
How you feel about that?
Have you ever heard the term "that's what your mouth say"? I've only really heard, like, I'm not saying that, I've only really heard women say it to a certain extent. Like, I might have heard a few dudes say it, but it's like, people just be looking for a deeper, like, yeah, that's what you say, but let me see. 9 times out of 10, a dude is going to say what he's going to do, unless he's on some conniving, specifically trying to do some evil stuff. If a dude tell you something, like,
well, you know what? I learned that that's not the case with women. Because I've dated 2
But you can't
women.
do the generalization.
I'm talking about these 2 individual women that I've dated.
Okay, because you said women as if you were generalizing the whole.
I dated these
2 I'm with you. Go ahead.
Women, nigga. and both on separate occasions at different time periods, they both said, that I should not listen to what they say.
Yeah. I've had
Because I'd be like, yo, but you said this. And they was like, you can't listen to what I say. Whereas though I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
Like if I say some shit,
that's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
So it's like women just seem to operate, because I've been
Some
told
women.
that. Well, the two women that I'm speaking of have both adamantly been.
You got to be on it because he called you out for doing that. You were supposed to.
What?
Go ahead for
But
generalizing.
All that
for
just to
generalizing.
say
right.
that there seems to be a different understanding of what, because I said so. So like the women that I'm speaking of, they've told me specific things out their mouth to my face, eye to eye. And so I accept that, like, oh, okay, I respect what you're saying. But then later down the line, they be like, you can't listen to what I say.
Right.
Whereas though, if I were to do that, I'm like, no, listen to what I told you. Like, that's what I meant. So,
Because they,
well,
people
a lot
are
of times, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
sorry. A lot of times we go off of y'all's vibe, and that's where the miscommunication comes in. And so I'm gonna touch on that. So. And I know people say text messaging, none of that stuff matters, but it does.
No, it does.
Like, there can be so much miscommunication. You can misconstrue a text message. You can't feel energy from a text message. Like, the thing, so say I'm going to use Dave this time so people don't. So say Dave and I are talking, we're dating. Mm-hmm. If I had something like really, stop, Dave. If I had something really important that I want to share with Dave, or whether it's something about my feelings or something that happened or something, I just want to share something important. It might be about my day. I want to tell him face to face. I'm going to be like, hey, what's your schedule look like? Da-da-da-da. Can we hook up? But it's just like people like, oh, my God. I've had women friends be like, girl, I text him da-da-da and call me and be like, I sent him this. And they be reading for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, my God. Like, I'm with text messaging. About 4 sentences in, I ain't got nothing else left.
Right.
I would rap like
human interaction.
The human interaction piece, and I think when you only rely like on text messages, you miss that part. You miss that energy. So if I'm telling you something important, like say it's something I want you to support me in, there's a way that you're going to look at me. Like I was reading something, so I kind of prepared for this. I was reading something about like how how men communicate a lot with their eyes. Like, so if you're not really interested in somebody, you might not make eye contact while they're talking to you about something important. You might be doing something else. But if you're really, really interested, you're looking at her lips move, you're looking at her body language, you're looking at whether or not she is looking back at you.
But isn't that a generalization? Because everybody's different.
It is.
See, that's what I'm saying. He be calling you out, but he did it.
But just go with me. Can I go
No,
with?
I'm not
Can you
just
go
going
with
with shit.
25% of the population? Can you go with a few people?
I just,
All right, so
our
tell
objective
me.
is to
we'll
keep it
do-
100.
All right, so keep it. So
Yeah.
tell me when you. So what do you think about communication and texting and dating? Like, what do you think?
What the fuck? What kind of question is that? What do I?
What do you think
trying to-
about
because you
communicating?
just-
How
you
people
just told me.
communicate when they date? Like,
I don't
is
know,
texting
nigga, I
cool?
don't
Do you
date.
text?
I don't know.
Do you text females? You don't text no females at all.
No.
Never.
You don't
never
text?
I ain't
texted a
gonna say
female
never, but-
in your life.
So you
Yes, in my
like
life,
face-to-face communication? On the
What do you
phone?
prefer?
What do I prefer?
Yeah. Or do you have a
I don't
preference?
like talking on the phone. I'd rather be in person.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a.
What's your friend say? You the unicorn of dating? Yeah. You know.
But I've
I mean,
been,
no,
and
but
I mean,
that's
I've,
no,
knows
but I'm
that. They're
saying
like, yeah,
that's
they
a-
asking the wrong
but
nigga about dating.
It's rare that it's rare
I've
to
become
hear a dude
accustomed
say
to
that.
though. I've become accustomed to, like, I had to learn texting. I heard a comedian say he didn't even know what texting was until he got in an argument with his girl. He like said some shit and stormed out. He looked at his phone. There was a little envelope on there. Like, what the fuck is this? So he sees she texted him. He called her like, what do you want? She's like, we're not there yet. Hang up and text me. Because they, texting is more of a, But I got into, texting, just dealing with relationships, and it becomes an easier way to communicate when you don't have to be face to face. You can say stuff
like
there,
texting.
or people feel like,
You like it?
Not as
people
far as,
feel
like, dating.
freer.
I'm just saying as far as
People feel
communicate,
freer to
'cause I don't like
communicate.
talking to people.
Yeah, so but I mean, I actually prefer talking face to face. You can see people's,
Well, I mean, I think it's
you
a
get more of an
difference
idea
between,
of
like,
intent.
dating and then just regular communication. Like, I don't need to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to, yeah. I mean, it's easier to communicate. And it does make life simpler.
And I still got to make business shit happen. Like, yeah, texting is the move.
Yeah, we talking about in the realm of, relationships,
If I was ever
dating.
in a relationship,
He said if I was ever.
I would prefer to have, interaction, in person.
Yeah.
Just because I don't like talking on the phone. I don't like it. Because it just be a bunch of dead air. And
It depends. Like, and you know what? I think that, well, for some people, like for me, that relates to who I'm talking to, because I've had conversations with women where it's a bunch of dead air and it's nothing. And then I've had with people, I'm like, you was talking about how when you're really interested in somebody and how it makes you react different. Like when I'm really interested in that person, it's always something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? It's always a conversation. Eddie, you got to come next week. Come through next week.
Said women text so they can have a record on file.
Right. So they have receipts. That's what it is. Nuh-uh, you said this nigga is right here in black and white.
But I can't lie, Eddie B. That's how I go too.
Sometimes you need to have receipts
on
on
it's
people.
like
Because
they be going to flip flop on you.
No, that's a generalization. That's a generalization. No, not all women do that. I don't do that. I don't. That's you talking about.
I think
no.
you do.
No, I don't do that.
You
I'm
personally?
the one.
I'm entitled to my opinion.
So when it's you entitled, but when somebody else do it, you gotta call them out.
I don't want anybody to believe me. I'm not trying to persuade anybody.
So let me tell you.
Don't believe that shit.
Let me tell you. This is a long story, but I go into the store all the time. This lady, and I swear I just learned her name, but she always, when I go into the store, I get a little few things. And for some reason, she always says, "Well, how's dating going?" And so we have these conversations. And she's older. She's like 72, and she said, "I don't know what you young people da." So the other day we had a conversation, and at the end of the conversation, she said something I said I was going to say on here. She said, if a guy wants you, he is going to pursue you relentlessly because he knows exactly what he wants."
Okay.
But I think that so I'm not going to say that is 100% true. I do think it's true. A man will pursue you. But I just think there's so many different factors. Like, there's no cookie cutter way to dating.
Exactly.
I don't think.
Right. Yeah, and that's the bottom line.
And that's because
pursuing might be something different.
Yeah,
for different people.
We all have different situations, different experiences, different. Like, people work different shifts, different lives. They have different things going on. I don't think there's a cookie cutter way, and I think we got to be careful with these quotes and these memes. Because
it's
they
a meme-driven
all
world
apply.
now. That's what
But I think to your point, Jay. Actually, to both of you guys' point, like, just I don't think I know as women, I know I'm not as straight up as I should be, but just like ask, just say it. Like, I think a lot of times we're afraid of the answer, the reply.
Yeah, or just the emotion that comes along. I think that's why texting and chats and stuff like that is so much easier, because it's easier. Like, and it's something that's human nature. It's like when you're talking to somebody and you're either delivering information that you think they won't want to hear or something like that. Your whole demeanor is different. That's how I'm a big fan of Judge Judy. Like, I have an unhealthy obsession with Judge. But anyway, she called herself the human lie detector.
You have an obsession with Judge Judy?
Unhealthy obsession with Judge Judy. Yes, that little white woman does it for me. But anyway,
she just fat.
See, I don't. I saw the movie.
I'm traumatized right now.
Anyway, but look,
oh my God.
But to my point, one of the things that she peeped, and I started noticing it, because I unfortunately I'm around a lot of liars, and so you see the patterns that people who aren't telling the truth, or people who are delivering information that they feel like it's not going to be received well. There's patterns to it, the way they look, the way they don't want to make eye contact and things of that nature, and that's why texting is so easy. Because people, if you're delivering something that you don't want to say, you don't have to even interact with that person. You can just throw it out there, but it takes you wind up sacrificing interpersonal skills, and so you learn the ability to interact effectively. I do what I can. You start to lose you giving up the ability to interact effectively. So that's why it's a lot of awkwardness now. If you notice, like, I was talking to a friend of mine about how, like, when I was from like the last year of high school through like my years at Howard, and when I was when I first started working at Safeway, like, just because it was so much interaction in all of those situations, my interpersonal skills were so on point. Like I could talk to anybody, like have conversations and stuff, and I would want to. I would just meet like females on the subway or in a restaurant or something, just be like, hey, and strike up and actually be able to kind of perceive how to come at the situation, and very rarely was I wrong, but nowadays I'm like, I work in a place where I'm like in a cubicle, I'm by myself. I talk to people on the phone from time to time, but I'm like, or just awkward. Like my interpersonal skills aren't as sharp as they were now, and I don't even want to talk to people no more. Like I don't want to, I don't even have a desire. Yeah, it kind of faded away, and it's something that we need because that's a big part of community building and things like that is having those interpersonal skills. So losing it and it's a huge reason to tie it back in why dating and relationships are so skewed at this point because we lose those interpersonal skills to be able to interact effectively. That's why we think instead of talking to the person, it's easier to talk to other people. You know what I'm saying? Instead of telling this person, I want to be with you exclusively because they're dating other people and they haven't made the assertion, you're like, well, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go out and date other people too. Instead of just saying, look, I'm trying to make this thing more serious with stuff. And it's something that's manufactured too, right? Because what you see on movies and TV when a woman like, well, what are we? What is this situation? Just trying to get clarification. And guys, I don't want to have that. But you got to be straight up. And if the answer doesn't meet your satisfaction, you got to, make a decision about your life. You have control of your life. Like I said, it's all on all people are ever going to give you is information and situations. What you do with it is up to you 100%. And that's the bottom line of it is, that. So
thank you, Dave.
That's what I have for that.
Is the show over now?
No, we got 15 minutes left, so we got to fill it with something else. I heard about no, I'm just playing. but we trying to get some answers for this dating and relationships. Yes, you can. You don't have to ask.
All right.
So we're going to get it to a point where she don't ask no more
I'm going to
eventually.
keep this really clean.
Well, you can get dirty if you want to.
No, I don't want to get dirty. I want to still be a lady, but I'm
still be a lady and get dirty.
Keep this really
anyway,
clean. I think another thing too that we don't talk about in the community is activity. I think we need to focus on being healthy because especially now, I'm over 40. So when you get into a relationship or you're dating and the other person can't perform because they haven't taken care of themselves or the woman isn't flexible, I think we really need to start kind of focusing on those things. That has everything to do with self-care. And when you're going into the dating scene and you're in a relationship, that is part of a healthy relationship. And that's guys included because you have a lot of guys on medications and they can't, perform. And so when you are in a dating scene, if you already know that you're incapable of, that needs to be discussed. If you're a woman and you know a certain things you're incapable of, that needs to be discussed.
So
I think we're going into situations where we're not being open and honest about who we actually are because we're getting so used to this filtered social media realm, and we're not having real conversations about what healthy relationships really look like. And when I say relationships, I mean even in dating. I'm not talking about you're committed. I'm talking about just in having that, just in putting that on the table.
So how important is sex to you in a relationship?
Are you asking me personally?
I don't want to. Just for Jay's sake.
I think that's a Jay question. I'm gonna sit that one out.
You gonna sit it out?
What?
Isn't it so the relationship, is like in a pie chart. There's honesty, there's communication, there's attraction, there's how big is
what's your friend say?
Does Eddie? Eddie, you come. Eddie, if you free next Monday, we're gonna be back at the Nubian Heuman. I need you to be there, Eddie, for real.
Just put something for JJ on his lips. It helps.
Oh.
I told you didn't want to know.
So I think. So I'm
the truth is the truth, my nigga. Shout out to Eddie B.
I will say that I think I'll talk from a spiritual standpoint. I think spiritually we have forgotten how important that sex is to just our existence.
To the connection.
And I don't think that we pay attention to the spiritual ties and the interconnection that goes on with the act. And it's, we look at it as something evil and something dirty. But I think if we hone in on that, then you'll know that in your relationship, that's an important thing. And you also need to know, like, what your partner's expectations are. So if you're in a relationship with somebody that only has sex like once a month, and you want to do it every day or every other day,
every 2 hours,
that's not your person.
Right.
Like that's you can't
well,
train.
I mean, so
you
is
can't train. You can't
is it something
change
you can
that.
build up to? Because I would say
so.
communication can change that though. Like I've always told, because I have a lot of female friends and we have conversations on a certain level. I don't know why people feel like they can confide in me, but a lot of people do. So I wind up knowing these things about these females, and one of the biggest things that I would hear, not so much now, but maybe in my through the 20s and 30s, was like. I say the 20s and 30s, like I'm about to be 40. But anyway, was about men being inadequate sexually, and women, like, they would talk about it, but then still, like, not say nothing to the guy, but talk about it with their friends or, or feel it and know it, but not saying. I'm like, talk to this dude. Like, no man wants to feel like he can't please his woman, period. Like, so if you tell him, unless he's just an asshole, and then you probably don't need to be with him anyway. But if you talk to this dude and let him know, look, this ain't working out, he's going to, like, I think I said it on the last show, he's going to start drinking milk, he's going to start doing push-ups, he's going to start doing something to get himself together. Look, because people...
They don't know what the fuck you
always going to... The people be like, because I'm drinking milk, and it's an old commercial. Y'all taking it way too seriously. I'm saying the bottom line of my point is no dude wants to feel like he can't please his woman. Like I said, unless he's a jerk or something like that, and then you probably don't need to be with him. But if you communicate, and communication is the bottom line, it's the key. Like, talk. Say it, because he'll make the adjustments. Like that dude that once a month dude might go to once, and he might want it too once a day, but he don't want to feel like he pressing you out. So I mean, but you won't know until you communicate.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna just chime in from a 40-something-year-old. Most of my 40-something-year-old friends, their biggest thing in dating is that they don't want to train somebody to do something. They're not at a point in their life where they can. Now me, I'm not speaking for me. So I'm talking about, this is a generalization that most women don't wanna have to do that. But I mean,
your goal?
You gotta work.
It goes back to what's your goal.
Sometimes.
Like, if your goal is to be with this person for the rest of your life, why not show them what you like? Why not? Like, if you're gonna be, you got time. If you're gonna be with them for the rest of your life. But so I mean, why not? Instead of complaining to your friends, and talking about the dude about it, just tell them, look, this is what I like, and this is how I like it done. It's so easy because it's definitely awkward. Like, until maybe about 30, I wouldn't say nothing about it. If a girl didn't do what I liked, I'd just be like, oh well, I guess I'll try, see if she does it next time. You think it real hard and hope they pick up on your vibe and try to do it, but just communicate, just say it out loud.
A basic dating question.
Oh, before we go too far into another question,
it was about that.
How important is, like, if in a percentage number?
I could have answered that.
Did you?
I'm not giving you no percentage.
What the percentage of the dating pie is? Jay, what the percentage of dating is or relationship is sex to you?
Well, again, the unicorn speaks.
Yeah, no, you can only speak for yourself.
I only had sex with women I'm in love with.
But I mean, once you're in that realm of that sexual relationship, what percentage of the relationship, like, how important is it? Like, if somebody did...
It's important because, like Patrice was saying, like, I don't view sex as a physical act. Like, it's a spiritual connection. And so, which is why I don't date people that deal with a lot of people, because my energy, I'm protecting my energy. And so if I do connect with a woman in that way, like, it's not just like a sexual act to me. It's like, okay, I'm going to share with you my spirit, and you're going to share with me your spirit. And
I'm sorry, you made it sound so beautiful. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, but that's why I'm out the way though, because I know that's
not the popular.
Yeah, it's like a minimal understanding of that understanding. So it's like, I don't really, but I think sex is important to healing of the body, to reaching your goals, and that's why I'm real particular about who I share that experience with, because it's not just to, feel good. It's like, okay, we're going to grow and develop together. So it's like we're going to exchange our energies. And so, but to answer your question, it's important. Like, it's important element, but not for
The reasons that
the
everybody-
obvious reasons people expect. Just to like bust it up.
So I want to piggyback on that. This is you touched on something great. A lot of times, and I've heard this from guys. A lot of times, you'll get a guy who maybe doesn't want to have sex or doesn't pursue you sexually like the average. I'm not gonna say the average guy, but another
You can say the average guy.
That's
That's more of a.
the average guy will. And a lot of times women will be like, well, is he gay? Is
I've been
he
asked that.
And it's just like, wait a minute, it's
More
like
than too many times
right.
I've been asked
But at this, so it's just like, if you think that, like, what type of dudes have you been dealing with? Like,
Right.
So I will share that some of my closest guy friends are guys that never pursued me sexually. Like, it was a friend of mine told me this. He said, guys that are your friends are just guys that haven't had sex with you yet. Like, that's not.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's not that they don't want to, but
yeah, they might want to, but there's a respect there.
I don't know that because I'm surrounded by beautiful women, like all the time, and people just assume that I have relationships, but
that speaks to what you said, though.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
But I've never even. So it's not.
That's why they be like,
I haven't smashed yet. It's like, nah. It's like that's not even.
She told me I couldn't say smash, so you can't say smash either. You haven't made sweet love to her yet.
Violin type talking and say smash.
Well, it's not my fault because if you think about all of the words that are used,
I just use the vernacular.
Hit.
Beat.
Cut,
beat. You say beat now.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't say that. That's like, I don't want to abuse her. Well,
everything is an abusive
connotation.
Yeah,
like
that's
everything.
true.
So it's like, don't blame me. It's like that's how society.
But you don't have to use it.
Right. I'm just saying for
I do,
generalization. Like, people know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
When in Rome.
But I agree. All of those words are terrible. I even did a poem about that. Like, all of the words that are used.
At the end of the show, Jay is going to do his poem. At the end of the show, he's going to do his poem.
This was like 20 years ago.
We're going to talk him into it. He's going to do it.
But
give us some bars. Go ahead.
But I just, I forgot what the fuck I was talking about.
You ain't have an edible this week, did you, Jay? I was just messing
with
you last week.
I'm definitely high.
Yeah,
but it wasn't edible.
The last
so
show,
I could control
gone.
this one.
No,
This is kind of like a controlled, like, that
yeah.
edible, nigga. I was fucking going berserk,
Gone.
nigga. I was like, yo, I need help.
He was giving me compliments, hugging everybody.
I went back to try to post part of the show, and Jay was sitting there like this.
Gone. Bewildered.
Real. But yeah, man, I think sex is an important element of a connection between a man and a woman.
Definitely.
It's just about our understanding of ourselves, and then how we use sex to enhance our connection to one another.
Right.
I don't think if we don't understand that sex is actually a language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, if it's a language, and I don't think, to your point, we understand it's a language without using any words.
Right.
And it's way deeper than the surface stuff, how we view it. So you can't generalize someone based off of memes and stuff.
And that's a deep metaphor for it, because just like it being like a language, it's like sometimes people don't speak your language, and I mean, you got to find that out and kind of weave through and find somebody who really speaks your language really well, and I mean, as a whole part of the pie. But so I was asking that question about the percentage of sex to segue into the question, like, so if you met someone, if you were dating someone and you got to the point where it became a sexual relationship and they didn't perform, like you were talking about people not, being in a position where they couldn't, I guess act to a certain level, would that change your perspective about being in a relationship with them? Would that be a deal breaker?
So let me tell you, off the break, I'm asking, are you on any medications? That's just me.
Okay.
What are you taking? Because I already know, just from a health and fitness perspective, that certain medications cause guys to be impudent or not perform.
Is that so? If he's like, yeah, I'm on Zoloft and trimetadol and anything that I don't know, I'm just mad. But anything that you and it sets off that thing in your brain where it's like,
so I would expect. Thank you. I would expect that that the performance is not going to be up to par if it's on certain medications. So But to your
You on
point,
any medications, Jay?
Nah. Nah. I mean, all right. So look, I'm about to keep it 100 with y'all.
I didn't mean to cut her whole thing
Oh,
off.
my bad. Yeah.
I don't know. It's okay. So you saying so if the performance wasn't up to par, how would I had a conversation?
Or would that be a deal breaker for you? Would you be like, okay, this is not the relationship for me because sexually he's not doing what I need?
So I'm gonna say this: by the time we get to the sex part, by the time we get to having sex, there's a vibe and a frequency that you need to be on first. So that part plays into the whole.
I'm glad you said
the
that.
love
That's so
lang- the
important because
love
people don't wait for that
language
vibe.
of
People do
And
sex
so-
first and then try to build a
right.
relationship.
And so if we already vibing and I already know that we on the same frequency or he's on a higher frequency than me, then I already know that it's going to be great. Now, as far as the performance, like the down to the nitty gritty.
Just so y'all know, she hit the
I
table
think-
when she was a dog.
I think that is. I'm gonna keep this
What do you
clean.
think?
I think everybody is teachable, and when I say that, I mean you have to teach someone how to learn your body. So they're not gonna know your body right off the bat, because a lot of people, when people say this, like all peas are the same. Not pea meat, but pea. Vaginas.
I know,
All vaginas are the same.
yeah.
They're not. There's that spiritual piece. So you have to teach another person how to learn your body, not just learn what you like. Because everybody, I mean, you put 10 people in a room, 3 of them gonna say they like the same.
But 10 people in a room, that's a good Saturday night if you had
Oh my
I'm just
God.
saying.
But you have to teach that person how to learn your body, how to connect.
That's
with
true
you.
though. Yeah, no, that's
But
real.
they should already have at least 50 to 75% of it down pat.
Well, because I always say the first time you have sex with somebody, because people are open and communicative about their needs and their wants, the first time you typically have sex with someone, you're just trying a bunch of stuff that work with other people. Because that's all you do is you go back to your frame of reference. Well, this worked for this person, this worked for that person, and unless that person, and I probably only, I mean, not to get too personal, but I probably only had 1, maybe 2 people be like, this is what I like, and this is what's gonna, and to have that conversation and be comfortable having that conversation without it being even trashy or anything but it just being an open communication and back and forth about sexual, desires and wants and
This
stuff.
is the last thing I'm gonna say about sex. Now I'm gonna let Jay have it.
Me?
But
I'm the least nigga.
Jay, she said it, then I'm gonna let Jay have it. Go ahead.
She gonna let me have it, y'all?
No, stop.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. I'm sorry.
It's
been a while, nigga.
I was trying to fly under the radar, Jay. You made it obvious, so that's why you got to
Jay,
hit. But go
stop.
ahead.
I'm saying you save you. I'm
I
just,
just think,
you
like,
the safest in the world fucking with me.
What you like, what you don't like that just sounds so elementary at this stage in our lives. I think that your discussions and your vibe and your frequency with minimal words should be y'all about to take each other to the moon. That's it.
But that's
Like,
and I think that's also kind of that sentiment. Like I get it, and that's the romanticized sentiment. But it's like, I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Like I don't expect somebody to know something if I don't say it to them. Like because if you're with somebody and you're like, they should be able to know without me saying nothing. That's how.
It's a deeper. It's not surface. It's not in a book. It's not. I don't know how I'm picturing like the universe. I'm just like he's a unicorn and dating. I'm probably. I keep saying old fashioned, but maybe I'm just a unicorn. But it's certain things that you can't even put into words, and you. I don't know. It's
vibes and feelings, but I feel like communication. I feel like. Especially if you're not getting, like, what's your goal is the point of this that I've been saying. But, like, if you're not getting what you want from somebody, and this is the person that you've put a lot into, like you said, by the time you get to the point where it's a sexual situation, you've invested a lot into this situation because you're not just jumping right into bed with the person. So if it's somebody that you like on that level and y'all get to that point and something's not happening, instead of being like, calling your girl and be like, man, he should have just known, he ain't know. I just say, hey, look, it was good, but, if you really want to do this, if you do this right here and then do the counterclockwise swirl, just be open and honest. I mean, communication is the key. Like, and I mean, it can save you a lot of trouble. It's human nature to make things more difficult than they need to be, and I think it's as simple as saying, like, I think the first thing we were talking about when Jay was like, I just say it. Yeah, it's that simple. Just talk. Man. Just communicate.
You got a comment, Dave.
Yeah, who said what?
My man Spence said.
What up, Spence?
It's much better to learn their body than to have a cheat sheet spoken to you.
Yes. What's his name?
That's Anthony Spence.
And that's true.
Anthony?
And that's true too if that's the type of situation. But if you taking the time to learn her body and the time you think you learning her body, she's like, if this nigga don't get there one more time, it's all right, right?
What's that? What's the one on the right side?
Your joint?
Who's saying?
Oh, this is Greta. You know Greta?
Yeah.
I told you the city is small, but it's also
Greta
big.
says if you're going back to other people, then you haven't listened to the person you were with. You're not present.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
That's powerful.
Yeah. Jay breaking stuff.
Yeah, how
into
you
the
gotta
studio.
be present.
Reading her shit.
Hi, Greta. You gotta be present. You gotta be
Might have
present.
to like unscrew it and screw it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's important. Just being. Yeah. So shout out to Greta. Appreciate that comment. It's very important to be present and in the moment. And to your point, like dating a few people, it does take your attention. And I always say because like, while it's possible to give your attention to a lot of things, it does like divide it. So like. When you're trying to build a relationship with someone and you're trying to also build your career, your financial life and things like that, it's tough to do. I mean, it's good to have a partner and somebody to have your back, but something's going to get taken away from something. So, it'd be good to have somebody that understands that. But like you said, if you're not you all right?
Nothing.
No.
No, I was laughing at my.
Your phone?
Who?
Stop!
All right, so
I just saw the nigga name. I was like, oh, this nigga.
I
don't know if that's his real name or if that was his assigned name based on his performance and shit. I'm like, man,
come on, man. You see these messages right now like I know this ain't me.
Stop!
I would tell y'all this nigga name.
No, don't do that.
But I'm not. We're not going to be messy on here. He probably watching the joint like, yo, what you doing after the motherfucker? Live cast. Really?
I want to talk about
you didn't see the name?
Nah, I didn't talk about it.
Man, that shit was hilarious, nigga.
Don't put on this
Your
mouth.
phone is over here with me. Like, don't blame me. Shit. I'm just reading this shit like, what? It's like if a girl called your phone like,
wait, that's
super wet deep.
That's not what it said. She blushing and she about to
You
leave.
see how she laughing? You should have seen the name of the nigga that just started.
But you should have seen her face when the name popped up. Anyway,
Yeah.
so, but keeping
you
it
had
on
a
topic,
face- you had a
I'm not
facial
gonna
reaction?
look. Keeping it on focus on what we talking about. So
I was like, wow.
bringing it back to the realm of relationships and the meme itself, like the meme itself that said about the.
I got some relevant shit, Dave.
Okay, what you got?
You ready for it?
Like I'm trying to bring it back to the topic.
You know I'm good at that.
Yeah.
Right. So go ahead. Give me
the meme, what it was?
No, not the meme, but the generalization of the topic, real quick.
It was basically just dating and relationships in 2020, how they've evolved and changed, and the issues that we have, and our goal is to educate and help people get their dating game together.
All right, so here's my. Don't I got a little segment? What's my segment?
The fist up segment. I thought you already had it, but you can do too.
What was the first fist up?
You are high, aren't you? I'm just.
Yes.
But then you say something about a holiday or so. You talking about So all right.
All right. So in regards to the topic, here's the fist up segment.
Okay.
So we have to be mindful that we claim to be searching for functional relationships, but we're not acknowledging the dysfunctional society that we are surrounded by. So when you're surrounded by dysfunction and in the midst of that dysfunction, you're trying to make a functional relationship, I think we have to be at least knowledgeable about the dysfunction that is surrounding us. So a lot of times when people have difficult times dating, it's like trauma and dysfunction in people's lives. That's no real fault of an individual person per se. Unless you're knowledgeable of like the self-work you need to do, the spiritual work you need to do, health regimen that is important to every human being. So if those things aren't included in your just everyday life in general, having a relationship with another person there's going to be some level of dysfunction by default, only because we are surrounded by dysfunction in every aspect of our culture. So not saying that it's not possible, but I think collectively, if we acknowledged, the dysfunction in our communities, in our families, in our school systems, and, the food we eating, just having a general understanding of those things, then if you had a mate, y'all could talk about those things surrounding you. And I think just acknowledging those things could have, or could not, but could benefit an individual, two individuals' relationship with each other, if you're both knowledgeable about the hindrances that are surrounding you. And I think in my case in particular, the reason I don't date is because, I'm more dedicated towards addressing the dysfunction of the society. And I think once that is addressed, then I could probably have a healthy dating relationship. But so that's my point, Dave.
Okay, so all the outside stimuli, the things around us that's dysfunctional, makes it difficult.
Right, personally, without even being in a relationship. Yeah. And then you're trying to, mesh your life with somebody else's life without acknowledging all of these things that have happened to us or our career goals. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's because I think a lot of relationships actually could work. But it's like people just got so much shit going on, or that they're trying to achieve, or they're trying to accomplish as far as careers or goals or accomplishments that,
I think that's true. And I think it's also so much manufactured like programming. Like it's so much in media, in news, in TV and songs and things that make you feel like everything's supposed to be this way. And unless you have that understanding, like we were talking about earlier, that it's entertainment, that it's not something that should be taken as seriously. Like you can glean certain, like there's always lessons and things you can get from art. But for the most part, it's just there for entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't live your life based on what, these things. Because like you were saying before, like you made decisions and done stuff based on like music. But as you grow older, you start
Snoop.
to learn.
I need to meet
But
Snoop.
the older you get, you start to learn that, okay, he's saying this more. And I mean, it was not right for you specifically. And, it might have been right for him. It might have been a situation. Or he might have just made some shit up and said it. So the bottom line is it's entertainment. And that's not what we should necessarily follow, especially in the realm of relationships when all you hear nowadays, in the music is, is I just want to, like, who said that? What comedian was like, wasn't it Deion Cole that was talking about the old music and like how it'd be like, I want to make love to you all night long? And no, he was talking about what's your Babyface? I'll pay your rent. I'll buy your clothes. I'll do this as soon as I get home from work. He was like, now all the dudes say is you can get this. It's like that's all they really talk about. It's not about doing stuff for you.
I think it's so much self-degradation.
It's a big difference in what we say. And I mean, it's life imitating art and art imitating life to a certain extent. But we got to be able to see beyond what's being put in front of us and actually realize, like I was saying, how I grew up listening to like Bone Thugs and Harmony, but because I had a background and a foundation of people around me who made me understand like what these guys are saying is for entertainment. There's no reason you have to do the things that these guys do at all. And so I never wanted to rob a bank. I never wanted to kill nobody. I never wanted to try
Really?
I've never and even to the point where like you get mad at people and you feel a certain type of way, but I ain't never been like, I'm gonna go out and shoot this nigga. And I've never had a situation that put me in a place where I wanted to. Well, yeah, but I'm saying, but ain't nobody never did nothing to me to have me like, me or my family, like, nothing like, because that's what it would take. It would have to be like me or my family.
Right next door to me.
Yeah, and you kill everybody all day. No, but yeah, I mean,
statute of limitation on this motherfucker?
To be able to. Okay. Anyway, but to be able to separate the fiction from the fact and be able to, maneuver in this world without being affected in some way by that chaos is. So I definitely get what you were saying about, the insanity that's around us and trying to have.
I just, because we try to be helpful.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I think that may add an inkling of, if two people are together, if they just have those discussions.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Put your hand down, Patrice. You could just say what you want to say.
Real quick, it's a young lady that I follow in New York. She does a lot of community-based stuff for the Black community, and she did this live one time, and she was talking about how when we go into relationships as Black people, it's not about us. It's about the entire community. So like, for instance, if I'm dating someone, like, I want to know if they are involved in their community at all. Like, are you doing any, not just going to feed the homeless, like, are you doing stuff to build up the young people around you? Like, and I think if we did that as a unit, meaning, when a man and woman get together or they're dating and they haven't, they're just dating and they ask each other, hey, well, what are you doing in your community? Not how was your day at work? I think it adds a different element to
that's not.
to Jay's point, and so if we look at relationships as building, building up our communities, I think we would be more impactful just as a people. Definitely.
That's a conversation that should be had. I think you should still ask, how to date, just because you want somebody that cares about,
I'm talking about,
your day to day.
I said not just that, Yeah.
But that's definitely. So how big a portion of like the guy that you're looking for has to be somebody who's working in the community? And is that like a deal breaker if he's not doing any of that stuff? Or
it's not a deal breaker, but say hypothetically speaking, I was talking to somebody who or I was friends with that was doing a lot in the community and spoke to my spirit versus somebody that wasn't doing stuff in the community. I would probably lean more towards the gentleman that's doing a little something. And I'm not saying you got to be, in the nonprofit,
have to be Malcolm X.
But at least it's a mindset.
Shout out Malcolm X.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset that has to be had, because if this is somebody that you decide to be with, and I'm not even going to say for the rest of their life, because everybody's goal isn't marriage, but if this is the person that you're going to be with, once you guys are in one unit, you want to make sure that within your household, you're doing something to uplift your community.
Right.
I don't think that is an option. I don't think it's if you want to. I think it is for me. I think it should be a requirement. Like,
okay.
I'm not going to get with anybody that's not going to help me do something good for my community, or, the people that look just like me and my son.
Okay, so could it be somebody and then you inspire them to do it? Could it be somebody who's not necessarily doing it, but then you bring it to their attention?
Because everybody's not. People are
this.
busy. A lot of times they don't even think about it.
Yeah, it's like not even neglect. It's just they don't think about it.
To Jay's point, what he was saying, a lot of people don't even think like that, and so a lot of times if you sit down and you talk with them and you say, well, how about this, and they might say, well, I didn't even think of it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Don't think of whole relationships and families impacting our communities. Just like I was talking to my son about before we had segregation, he was studying the Great Depression, and I was like, before we had segregation, the Black family was powerful. Like, we had, we owned things. We had whole communities. If we go back to, the family piece and the community, and we kind of added that into dating, I think it'll be a whole different conversation.
Oh, yeah, well, definitely. Well, it's evolved into something, and that's kind of where we were going with this, was like dating in 2020. And it's because it's so different from what it was 10, 20, even 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's the ideas and just what it's become. So it's evolved into something completely different. What you got?
Nah, Truth asked me to move back so he was like, what'd you say?
Oh, what?
Say, move over, little Jay. She talking that talk. I want to see her. It's good, Truth?
Like, yeah.
What's his name?
Truth.
Hey, Truth.
That's a deep name to have.
Yeah, his whole family is Truth, powerful, victorious.
Oh, that's up and up. That's yeah. Shout out to
forgive me for not
Godzilla.
knowing all y'all brothers.
Yeah, if you haven't heard Godzilla, the group, check them out.
Okay,
They
I'll
dope.
check it out.
Powerful, victorious.
Yeah.
Ace.
I know the niggas by face. I don't know all the names, but they good people.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Oh, happy belated too, Truth.
Oh, happy belated. Yeah, man. So, but yeah, definitely, I thought it was some deepness you had. You just trying to see Patrice.
Well, he said she's talking that talk. He wants.
Yeah. So he would.
And so I'm gonna just share this really, really quickly. I know we gotta go, but like it is hard to. I believe in divine alignment, and that people that are meant to be in your space are, if you give off that energy, they come. But in dating, it's different because, of course, sometimes, with social media and stuff, people just drop in your inbox, send messages, and and it's hard to sometimes navigate the vibes and the frequencies and the energy. And for somebody like me that's, I like talking, like I love our hour together. Like I love having deep conversations with you guys, because that's like a rare find in the dating scene. Sometimes, I have great conversation, but sometimes not so much. So that does, make me kind of like a unicorn, an old-fashioned unicorn sometimes. But a friend of mine told me recently, he said, don't switch up for anybody. Just stay you. Just stay
Keep your energy what it is. Because there's somebody out there that's looking for exactly what you are, who you are, what you have, all of that. Like, people change up trying to be more of what people want. And it's somebody out there, not even on some serendipitous, it's somebody out there for everybody. Just on, like, the law of averages and numbers. It's how many billions of people on the planet?
7.
7 billion people on the planet. It's somebody on this planet that's looking for exactly who you are. You don't think so?
I can only speak to myself.
To your personal situation. You don't think it's no woman out there, or gorilla, chicken, or something? No, but no, you don't think it's no woman out there that can balance you perfectly? Or at the very least looking for, but I mean,
I ain't looking for shit.
So hold on now, but in like somebody that's looking for what you are and what you have.
I've never met anyone that kind of has a similar ideology and approach to life as myself. I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, she's out there somewhere.
Exactly,
and that's the bottom line. You can't really, cause
So I guess your statement remains true.
Yeah, it's somebody out there. Everything that you are. I think it is.
That's what
I definitely believe it is. And it's a lot. I've met a lot of people who have given up on the idea of finding that person. Or at least finding somebody who checks off enough of the boxes to say, okay, this is the person I'm a partner with. And build, and so. That goes back to originally, what's your goal? Like, what's your end goal? What are you trying to do? And I mean, so if your goal is to partner, I mean, I think it's better, and I think it makes life easier to have a partner and somebody who's on the same path and who is working toward the same goal as you, and and loves you, and you love them, and so that creates a situation where they work toward you.
I'll leave that for the next sometime. I think love is a word that's used so widespread. People don't even understand the power behind it, but just that love isn't a cookie cutter thing either, and it's also a feeling and a connection and a vibe and frequency.
And I think, and I'm this is how we're gonna end it. I'm gonna ask y'all how y'all feel about this statement. I was talking to when I was working at Safeway, I was loading produce. And it was an older dude that used to come through there, and we just have conversations while he was getting his, fruit and stuff in the morning. And we got on the topic of love. I think he was married or whatever, and he was talking about it. And he was just, I didn't think about, what you're saying about it being a different, like a vibe and things like that, and how frequently we use it when it has no business being used and things like that. He was talking about how there's no such thing as love at first sight. Like, because the nature of what love is, of the connection and the bond that you feel, it takes time to grow that. There's chemistry. There's infatuation, but it's no such. So, do you think that's true? That it's no such thing as love?
I've had 2 children that I've seen come out of a womb.
Well,
I'm in love.
Romantic love, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, even that isn't love at first sight because you was there with her as that child was growing. First of all, he was in you, and then he came out and created the person, and then you was with her and
was
saw
in
that
my
whole
nuts,
process.
son.
Right. Saw that whole process.
That's a great point.
But
That's
like
chemistry.
And you build that, you know, and that connection, the fact that it's connected to you and this person is a part of you. So that's not love at first sight.
Okay.
But
Right.
but do you believe in love at first sight? Do either you believe in it? Like, would you say that you could meet somebody in that moment, be like, I love that person? I've had something close to that, but I realized that it wasn't like. But as I got to know the person, that connection made it like, damn, I really love that person.
Love, like she said, is layered, man. Because it's like I love my people. I love black people.
But specifically romantic love, like you could go marry
Eros
your people.
love.
Yeah, Eros. There you go. Eros, UDC.
Hey. I don't know. I've never experienced it, so I can't speak on it. I've never experienced like love at first sight.
Okay. Patrice, do you think it exists, or have you ever felt like something that you thought was love at first sight, like an immediate?
No, I've never had
feeling?
that before.
I got comments.
Okay, what you got? And then
I think that, so I will add to that. So I've never experienced love at first sight. I actually don't believe in that because love is so layered. But the other part is too, in the dating scene, like these emoji things, like there's so much like miscommunication with that because people use them like just.
I know. I love when girls show their titties.
I
put the emoji joint with the two heart eyes, like. Does that count like love at first sight? No.
Right. What does that mean? Like I remember.
To me, it means I love your titties. Like, I don't know.
Jay took your wonderful point into a direction that I didn't.
One of my girlfriends had to tell me what
it's good stuff, but I mean that just wasn't what she was. Go ahead.
She had to tell me what the emojis meant because I was like, what does it mean when a dude sends you? What does this stuff mean? Like I don't know.
You just watch the Boondocks. Your boy was like, I love sending smiley faces to women. They love when you send smiley faces.
Hold on.
It's a whole conversation.
So Eddie and Truth are going. They fuck with you tough, Patrice.
Who, me?
Yeah. So Truth said love is the highest form of understanding. Eddie B said Jay, don't block your blessings. You're right, Eddie B. You right. That's my bad.
Yeah, it's somebody out there for you.
I don't
I'm trying
know
to
it
tell
all,
you.
man. But thank you, Eddie B. You right, man. You right. Let me digress with what I'm saying.
See what Eddie B doing next week. He coming on next
coming
week.
through next week.
Okay, that's a bet. Hey, Eddie, I'm gonna put you on the
it's
flyer,
on record,
Eddie.
nigga.
Don't.
All right. And then Truth says romantic love and love are two different things.
Yeah, and that's the distinction we were talking about. Truth got to come through too 1 week if you get all the all
Truth,
the guys.
Whenever you're ready, every Monday, man. If you got a Monday,
11,
here,
whatever. So, but yeah, man. With that, we're not gonna
like
keep
a
them in
real
here.
job, though.
Yeah, it's tough for people. But yeah, with that being said, we're not gonna hold these people hostage too much longer.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to be out of here.
Yeah, it's already
talking about love
12:30.
and shit. Sorry, people.
No, it's cool. We got it. We good.
What's his name? DJ what?
DJ Clutch.
DJ Clutch.
Yeah.
On the ones and twos.
Yeah.
I guess he on the board, so like the 3 through 16 too. Yeah.
All of that. Yeah. We definitely got to shout out the Unplugged Studios for having us in here, man. We appreciate you guys for giving us a place to do our thing from. I was talking about how much easier this is than me bringing all my stuff to the store. We might have to set up a little situation with y'all. Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah, so we really appreciate, man. You got any they're set up for full podcasts. They had the full recording studio and everything. Holler at Unplugged Studios, DJ Clutch. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Shout out to them for letting us rock in a spot today. It's been really
Nubian
great.
Heuman's open today. That's why we ain't in the store.
The reason we're not in the store today is because Nubian Heuman is open for Martin Luther King Day. So go down there and get your Martin Luther King on. Get some stuff. Everything in there is made by black people.
That's correct.
So you respecting the spirit of what Dr. King stood for by going in there and purchasing the shirt and the jumper or something. I don't know what y'all sell, but it's what I do.
We got both of those things.
Yeah, or the basketball or something. You probably don't have those.
Don't have that.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for checking us out, man. This is the Neighborish Livecast. On behalf of myself, Supa Dave, a.k.a. Mr. Incredible, Miss FruFit, Patrice Jones, and DC's native son, JaySun, I want to thank y'all for rocking with us today. We will be back next Monday in our regular location.
Correct.
And, but I'm going to talk to these cats because we
got
to set up some stuff.
And Jay for President.
JaySun for
download
President.
his music. Jay for President.
Is out there.
Yeah.
And,
it's
y'all
dope.
need to check
JaySun
it
for
out.
President on JaysonsLyrics.com. JaySun's.
It is dope. Yeah.
Thank you, Patrice. Hey, she bought my shit too. It's a free mixtape, but I got like the paid option if you want to.
Absolutely.
She gave me some bread too.
You support with coins.
Support your
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we gotta support all the time. We can't be, out here faking and stuff. We gotta, artists out here working hard and trying to make it, especially, local artists. So support your local artists all the time. So definitely shout out to the studio. Shout out to you guys, and we are out, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been another Neighborish livecast. We'll be back next
Thanks
Monday.
for watching,
And
Peace.
I can't see. Jay, I don't even know who's on here.
You know who's on.